the lecture, I listen to the most, quite often, because I think it's major, and we understand this one because it's like lays the foundation for our culture. It's called the Black Christians. So we're going to listen to it, and I'm just gonna finally, that CD right there. I mean, to explain, it's going to take many parts. So I will do my best. I have like 12 points I'm going to speak about, but the rest, we just have to listen to it, and throughout time, we will try to, cipher it, But before I begin my, the presentation, we listen finally, we will going to watch. What made me want to do this is I saw this YouTube video about a Christian missionary that went to Africa. So that's a little graphic, so Malachi, go ahead and take the kids out there. Arsu, just go upstairs.
Oh, it's graphic. That graphic.
So this the black Christian, the presentation that the high priestess did, I think it was did by High Priestess Belita from the Fahami Speak Radio program in the 1960s, early 70s. So before we listen to it, let's watch this guy. He's a missionary that went to Africa, and you can see what truly is their mission. Okay? Yes, let's do that first. Priest, can you see the TV? You can see it? Okay.
We move here?
No, just
Okay. You can have this one.
No, everybody can see?
Go back there. All right. Glare.
Oh, I see.
What about there? Yeah, that's good.
Close the
Close the shutters. Close the shutters. Thank you.
Oh, I see. Go ahead. Right. So let's go ahead and review this. And truly what our Holy Family was telling us is the truth. That so it's of course it's graphic because that's how. Then we can switch it. Here you go. Is the volume up?
The full screen.
Volume, it's on the control.
The volume up. So. All the way up.
No, it's here.
You got it.
It's in the TV.
I got it. I just want to start from the beginning. I mean, we can pause till you're ready. You feel me now?
No, I'm giving the volume up.
Now
You
this.
hate Jesus. You hate yourself. You hate Jesus. You hate yourself. You hate me. You disgrace Jesus. Huh? Talk.
Francis, wacha apige.
Talk. Talk. Come on, bitch. Come on, whore. You go to my fucking room. I'll fucking kill you in this. Hit it. Sir, he has disgraced Jesus. He has disgraced Jesus. He has disgraced Jesus.
Francis, upige. Toka mbele yake.
This place in Uganda.
Toka. I am not going to tolerate no more. Jesus is not going to tolerate me. Yeah, feel me. Fuck Uganda. I've come to love Uganda. I've come to help Uganda. But Uganda hates Jesus through this son of a bitch. You understand me, brother? You understand me? Yes, sir, I know you do. No. You obey what I say. I don't obey you. You understand? Open my fucking room. Now. You understand? Bitch. Nigger bitch. Look at me. Look at Christ who died for you. Look at me. Look at Christ who died for you. Look at Christ. No.
Excuse.
This took place 6 months ago.
No. Jesus is tired. Jesus is tired of your goddamn disobedience. Feel me. Jesus is tired of your obedience, disobedience. He's tired. No, you fucking come up. I don't calm down. You come up to the Lord Jesus Christ. You fuckers. Why? Why have you hated Jesus? Why have you hated your own souls? You know it. You know it. But you refuse to repent and be saved. Motherfuckers, 3/4 of you are going to fucking die in 3 days. Give me my goddamn card to my room. This motherfucker better work. You understand me? Hey, bitch. Look at me, bitch. Yeah, you're afraid. You goddamn ought to be afraid. Bitch. Nigger. Bitch. You're not a human. No, you don't. No, you don't. No.
Then you're gonna fight me?
Yes, I'll fucking knock your fucking life out. Because Jesus is tired of son of the bitches like you. You fucking hate yourself. You hate Uganda. You hate the Lord Jesus Christ. The Lord Jesus Christ is coming upon you with sword and fire. You fucking repent or you fucking die. This motherfucker better work. This motherfucker better work. Hey, you better get all this, all right? In the name of Jesus Christ, Uganda has come under condemnation because they have hated themselves, they have hated their fellow man, they have hated the Lord Jesus Christ. You fucking record that, bitch.
That's it.
Watch. American missionary launches racist assault on hotel.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
You did that? Yeah. Yes.
And he got a problem.
Yeah. So now we can go to the Black Christians. And what is the message that, because the subcontinent Africa is Catholic Christians. And there are more missionaries right now in the continent of Africa than there were 100 years ago. There's a lot of NGOs, a lot of so-called missionaries up here converting the whole race into Catholicism. Yeah. So let's listen to it, with that in mind. And I think this was the lecture was prepared from the Holy Fahani's writing called the Expose, and I think the High Priestess Belita, she presented it well. And I'm gonna say a few things.
Ready now?
Yeah. I want to pose it. You want to remove it?
No, we just had to.
There it is. Okay.
Salam, brothers and sisters. Welcome to the Voice of Muhammad. As most of you know, Salam means peace. Every Sunday this time, the Voice of Muhammad will bring you words of wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Muhammad, our understanding, is a new name for the black man's culture, founded on the background by noble ancestors, both ancient and divine, whose wisdom graced all the lands of Africa. In the year 1919, the Baha'i movement was founded by the Honorable Paul Nathaniel Johnson, B.A., prophet to the black race throughout the world, the first and only person to come forth with a revealed Bible and the name for God for our people. Each of our presentations is designed to inspire us through the truth of our God, therefore enabling us to overcome all forms of oppression and other negative states in which black people find ourselves. And now for the great subject, the black Christian. The black Christian. What is a Christian? Webster's Dictionary Christians or European white people. Since Christianity is one of the links in the chain that has us locked up and one that must be broken because it takes such a great toll on black people's minds, we must dig down into the roots of Christianity and expose it for what it is. That unless we free ourselves from the spiritual and mental death in which Christianity has doomed us to, we will never be a completely free and self-supporting people, a duly organized body of people with the power to direct their own lives. In the Ancient of Days, Christ or Chrism or Anointed was called Ra or Raha. It did not refer to the blessed prophet Jesus, peace be upon him, for he had not been born by birth or by nature. Reincarnation is another way of saying Ra incarnation, because Ra or Christ is the sunshine. Since it causes all food to grow, then when you eat bread or meat or drink water or the juice of any vine or plant, you are really eating and drinking the body of the incarnated Ra, or as the Greeks say, Christ or sunshine, vitamins or life-giving foods. Then Christ, which is Ra, or the sunlight, is made flesh, that is, vegetation or meat, and dwells among all mankind, or the human race, and beast kind. As Webster's Bible of Words says.
Nice. So, before we continue, so just quick points I prepared. When she said, for those our audience in the future, what is Fahmi? Fahmi is understanding. It's also the name of the new Negro culture founded on the background of ancestor worship. Our due reverence for our noble ancestors, ancient and divine, whose wisdom graced the lands of Egypt, Ethiopia, Chaldea, Arabia, Canaan, and the entire Torah zone, the Torah belt of the mystic name of Ethiopia. So when she was saying that, just keep that in mind. The second point that, like I said, we just have to listen to it, and it's just so many points she's raising. We have to explain what she meant by it, for our audience. That's why I got about 12, but the second point she made was she said the Webster Dictionary defined a Christian as a decent person. And I did some research this morning, and they took that decent person from the definition of Christian, and now they replaced it with one who treats other people in kind and generous way. Like that guy, just so. You see? One who treats other people in kind and generous way. And but a few years ago, when I did the research, they had that one, a decent person. The sixth definition they have, one of a Christian, what a Christian is, it says a decent person is a Christian. But today when I did the research, I could not find that decent person, but they had one who treats other people in a kind or generous way. Okay? And the third point that I just want to continue, just put that is when the Holy Family, when he said reincarnation is Ra incarnation. That was a very, very powerful revelation. He put Re into Ra incarnation, and reincarnation is another way of saying Ra incarnation. Who said that?
Alhamdulillah.
That was one of the biggest revelation for the whole planet, in fact, because Ra or Christ is the sunshine. Since it causes all food to grow, then when you eat bread or meat or drink water or the juice of any vine or plant, you are really eating and drinking the body of incarnated rock. That is one of the greatest revelation for all culture can benefit from. Or as the Greeks say, Christ or sunlight, because vitamins or life-giving food, etc., then Christ, which is rock, or the sunlight is made flesh. That is vegetation or meat, and dwells among all mankind or humankind and beast kind. That is one of the most powerful revelation. Not only the Holy Fahami is enlightening us that all life comes from the sun. It's the sun that's making the Hindus, I know Brother Ali knows, they call it prana. Prana, everything has a prana, and they are so into breathing that prana, but the Holy Fahami was telling us. But they don't know where that prana comes from. There's some reason. They say, no, the prana comes from that sun. It's the sun that's saying that life-giving energy called the thinnest of air from the sun to us. And I know my wife can testify. We have come to some research that there are some people, they don't eat any, they just breathe the air and live. They don't drink no water. They call them breatharians. It's like vegetarians. There are some people like that who are developing that power where they just breathe the air. Breathe that shoot, that energy from the sun. And maybe we'll watch one documentary some other day. There are some people walking among us right now that live using only the sun as food. Because he told us that it is all vitamins, all life-giving foods comes, and when you're drinking the water or eating, you are eating and drinking nothing but the sun.
Reincarnation means to give a new body to the soul. Black people as proselytes are converts of a religion totally alien to them, one that is not based upon their own ancestors and their customs and way of life. Race, religion, and God all go together. Where is our heritage and tradition if we are converts of Christianity? All religions are temperamental. All religions have a special quality, something that makes that religion what it is. If we are Black Christians, where are our special qualities in Christianity? We have none, because all the special qualities of Christianity are those that do not belong or relate to us, something that is completely against our nature as a race of people.
Same thing. Where is the special quality? They have their Easter bunnies, they have their Santa Claus. It's for them. Now that brother you saw, he could not fight him back. Yes, maybe he was scared to lose his job, you can say that. But at the same time, that missionary is telling him, no, you Christians, so you gonna follow us, I will tell you what to do. I am Jesus in a way, that's what he was telling them. So we are converts. I know it hurts, but we are converts. And we are being converted into their way of worshiping the human. Where is the special quality? We ain't got none. But in Fahami, we have our own special quality. See? We have something, what makes Fahami, our religion, so special. We have our called ancestor worship and the science of reincarnation. That is what makes Fahami so unique, is because we have what others don't. What makes us special. what makes our Fahami religion so special is ancestor worship. The signs of ancestor worship. And other qualities, of course, being mild and manner of speech, full of goodness and mercy, help us, those things too. And the holy brain surgery that nobody else knows. It's what's unique only for us and us.
The Bahami movement has come forth with a complete religious, educational, cultural, and governmental system of its own as the basis for a black nation. Bahami is Ra of the air. It is our new sun. The great seal of Bahami is the true spiritual sun.
That's
It
uniquely
is
ours.
important that we look back to the culture of our great ancestors and all of their amazing accomplishments for what can present-day blacks show that compares with the great accomplishments of our noble ancestors, the Hamites,
Indeed.
who were nations of people that had reached advanced stages, which was 1 degree or step in a scale or process, which was periods of development. The King James Version.
So quickly. So, she said, what? Right here. What can, the gospel tell us, what can the modern black show that even compares with his ancient civilization? Masonry began and ended with the pyramids, the only building erected by the hand of man that time and element have failed to destroy. And since Akhenaten, he has not produced a prophet that even compares with Balaam the Canaanite. Yes. So that's what she was saying. It's important that we look back to the culture of our great ancestors and all of their amazing accomplishment for what can the present day blacks or Ethiopians show that compares with the great accomplishment of their noble ancestors.
Is a translation from Greek and Italian into Old English from one particular statement or description from the cult of Ra of Africa, which was renamed Christ. That statement is that God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. There are many ways a man can be put to sleep. Let us read first Thessalonians chapter 4, page 231, verse 14. The manner of Paul's preaching, for if we believe that Jesus died and rose again, even then also will those which sleep in Jesus will God bring with him. Verse 14. For this we say unto you by the word of the Lord, that we which are alive and remain unto the coming of the Lord shall not prevent them which are asleep. Psalm 121, verse 4. Behold, he that keepeth Israel shall neither slumber nor sleep.
So, what she was saying is, they have copied from the cult of Ra. He said the King James Version is a translation from Greek and Italian into Old English from one particular statement or description from the cult of Ra. So what is that cult of Ra? Of Africa, which was renamed Christ. So in this chapter, in the Gospel again, will tell us that the cult of Ra, of Africa was copied by the Greeks and Romans and renamed Christ, a Greek way of saying Ra. The Hamite or Hamite contribution to civilization has been tremendous. Okay? From the Nile Valley came the germs of much that is found in the later cultures of the people of Western Asia. The Chaldeans called Amun, Marduk, Osiris, the warrior, as an earth god, became the Hindu Shiva, Jewish Baal god, and Yahweh. Okay? The story of Osiris, this is from the cult of Ra. The story of Osiris and the cult of Ra were the precursors of Christianity. The foundation upon which Christianity was able to build, and the intrinsic worth and far-reaching influence of the story of Osiris and the cult of Ra is that which constitutes our significance in the history of the world. So, I just want to add that. So when she said it was copied from the cult of Ra and named Christ, and they used that, and she said from the cult of Ra of Africa, which was renamed Christ. That statement is that God caused, I think it's in Genesis, God caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam, and he slept. There are many ways a man can be put to sleep. And yes.
The black man and woman of this day should say like the Jews that were carried captive into Egypt and exiled. Psalms 137, verse 4. How shall we sing the Lord's song in a strange land? Verse 5. If I forget thee, O Jerusalem, let my right hand forget her cunning. Verse 6. If I do not remember thee, let my tongue cleave to the roof of my mouth. If I prefer not Jerusalem above my chief joy. So the Jews, when taken into slavery, were determined to hold on to their identity as a people, to keep their own culture and not take on another people's culture and way of life, but hold on to their own. They were determined not to forget where they came from and who they were. We were put into a deep sleep also, and we were awakened with a different brain pattern and a new set of ideas and tastes, and remember nothing of our glorious past. It all started with Enoch and Simon of Cyrene of North Africa, and ended with our emancipation from physical slavery. Now let us take a close look at the development of Christianity for the purpose of understanding it as being a religious system for Europeans and based upon white culture.
White culture, yes.
It was not the cult of Jesus that Rome persecuted. Not was it the cult of Jesus which triumphed over the cult of Isis, the great mother of mystery. It was the Christian church which was persecuted, the Christian church which triumphed. It grew not in humanity, nor in meekness, gentleness, nor so-called Christian virtue, but in power, organization, and wealth. From lowly and humble origins, it grew big enough for an emperor to experiment with.
Wow.
There were Christians beyond the Euphrates by 100 AD. But so far as the church was concerned, they might as well have been in Hades. They were definitely less interested in saving human beings from pain, poverty, and misfortune than it was in saving its own skin. And that has been its big fight ever since. In the year 1 AD, the Greco-Roman world had more saints or gods than there were days in the year.
Yes.
Among their listings, we find the cult of St. Anne, the cult of Mary, the cult of St. Joseph, the cult of the Bleeding Heart, the cult of St. Christopher, and many others. By gathering them all up, all the mysteries of life and death, of birth and pain, of seasonal changes, by adopting existing machinery, by appropriating the spiritual, magical, supernatural, and superhuman power of all the other gods and goddesses, and by taking a hold on undisciplined thought, the Christian church finally won out.
Wow. Yes. So the point, I mean, I just want to just put that point for our viewers, you know. So by the year 180, the Greco-Roman world, and when you research, man, they have so many gods and goddesses you can't even count. So many gods and goddesses up here they have. At that time, Bill has more saints or gods than there were days in the year. Yes. So what they did, by gathering them all up, all the mysteries of life and death, of birth and pain, of seasonal changes, by adapting existing machinery, by appropriating the spiritual, magical, supernatural, and superhuman powers of all of the other gods and goddesses, by taking a hold of undisciplined thought. Of course, at that time, a whole lot of them were not educated, they're not aware. Undisciplined. There's a lot of people in those days, 2,000 years ago, most of them were into slavery and unenlightened. Okay, so he's saying what we are here showing you is how the Christians began to adopt the monotheistic idea of Akhenaten. Yes. So what they have done is the same thing our King of Kings, Pharaoh Akhenaten, did almost 1,500 years before them. Is what? To bring all of the gods and goddesses of ancient Kingdom and to put them into one. So they will do the same thing. They brought all of the Greeks and Roman gods and goddesses and made into one Godhead called Christ. You know? So they will do the same thing where our noble ancestor Pharaoh Akhenaten was what he did. Okay?
What we are here showing you is how the Christians began to adopt the monotheistic idea of Akhenaten. But since Christianity had no prophet, the patrons of the church had to try and incorporate all of the various cults, ideas, philosophies, etc. that the Europeans had been following for centuries under one Godhead.
That's it. Unto one
Early
Godhead.
Christianity needed no guidance, no sacred scripture, no religion of a life of love and beauty, no golden rule, none of the nobility of character, friendliness, or democratic simplicity of Jesus. It furnished its own inspiration, guided itself by the exigence of the time, put whatever interpretation it pleased in its Bible, and found in its Bible whatever justification it needed for war cry and propaganda.
Yes.
In fact, Christianity has borrowed so extensively and has been reformed so many times that no two Christians seem able to agree in defining it.
Yes.
As a result, more energy seems to go into wrangling over what it is all about, into explaining, propounding, and defending it,
Yes.
than into so-called Christian works. Europeans
This is the
then
point.
were striving for unity from a common ancestral background along with a God idea, and thus were establishing a new religious system for all Europeans.
There you go. That is the point that Holy Fahmi Rasul was trying for us to see. They were doing that for what? The Europeans then were striving for unity from a common ancestral background along with a God idea, and thus were establishing a new religious system for all Europeans. And it's working perfectly for them. The whole Europeans are united. They have their Pope out there. They have the Bible. They have their rituals they perform. Christmas or Santa Claus is working well for them. And the same thing that the Holy Family and the Family movement will work for us in the future. If millions of people embrace this movement, we can use that to unify our race with the same like others are doing.
Again, we call you to take note. As yet, the only people involved with Christianity, white culture, at this time are Europeans, not Asiatics, not Jews, not Africans. So when did black people enter the picture? Why did they enter the picture? And why are we still trying to force ourselves where we do not belong? Before we look at the church, let us look at the cults Christianity found at hand, ready to be built into a church.
Good. In other words, we're going to see what were the condition 100 years, 200 years before, the Council of Nicaea or all that, before what was the condition, what were the people in that area were practicing and what were they doing? And she's going to mention the Stoics, okay? So the Stoics, I know, like I said, if I stop and comment on every word she said, it's going to take a long time. So I'm going to stop with this, maybe I have one, and we're going to just let it roll and let you viewers listen to it. But you have to study it closely, over and over again, pause it, do some research. She said the Stoics. Who are the Stoics? Okay? These are the people, the Stoic or Stoicism were the religious belief at that time over 500 years. All of the Greeks and Romans were practicing this thing called the Stoicism, okay? And it's spelled Stoicism, Stoicism, okay? Is a school of ancient Greek philosophy that flourished throughout the Greek and Roman world and influenced the development of Christianity and Western culture. It was founded by Zeno of Citium in Athens in 301 BC. So over 400, 500, this was the main philosophy of, so when Christianity, when they were about to form that religion for themselves, they went through part of, passed through the Stoics.
No machinery for throwing fear of God into the hearts of men. This is because their doctrines taught men to be indifferent to pleasure or pain. They taught that men should be free from passion and moved by joy or grief, and submit without complaint to the unavoidable. Necessity by which all things are governed.
So these people right here, the Stoics, they just believe in controlling your emotion. They believe that emotions are not good. So you have to control the emotion. I mean, I was going to let you watch one more video, but I don't want it to make it longer, But when you do some research, these people still influence the Western culture to this day. They don't believe in this letting go of your emotions. You have to control. They even have this word like a stoic, like you are so a brave one, like you're stoic or something, That's why it came from that culture of theirs.
Antioch, nor Jerusalem, was the first home of Christianity. Antioch is symbolic of the fact that Christianity was nurtured in a Hellenized or Greek world.
Yes.
Which means Christianity had to find its way and place among the doctrines of the Greek philosophers, some of which were Plato, Aristotle, the Stoics, course of scriptural interpretation midway between the literal and allegorical. The net results of the Maccabean revolt was to proclaim Simon hereditary high priest, civil and military governor of the Jews forever.
Okay, so to know what she's talking about, she's saying is so the Antioch are the Jewish people at that time, that they had their own scripture, the Moses law, they call them the Antioch. Okay, so the Antiochs, they propounded a course of scriptural interpretation. So they wrote in the Bible or the Psalms. All the Psalms, our thing comes from the Antiochs, all right? Midway between the literal and allegorical. So they were the one that orchestrated that, the whole Genesis, Numbers, Leviticus. They wrote that. Of course, and Pluto and Aristotle, they have their own philosophy up there too, okay? So the net result of the Maccabee revolt, this is the revolt when the Jewish people, they were fighting with the Greeks and Romans at that time, saying, you know what, we're not going to worship your God. We are waiting for our own Messiah. And we're not going to take but the Greeks and the Romans were pushing their, Serapis and, all that. They want to push that and they say, no. So there was a big war between the Greeks and Romans and the Jews. And the Jews said, you know what, nah, we're just going to have Simon, one of our Simon, because the Greeks and Romans were trying to push this Messiah that will come to liberate you. Which is still right now, a lot of Christian people are waiting for that Messiah to come to liberate them. So that was the big war, the Maccabee revolt. So do some research on that, family, and that will enlighten you the war between the Greeks and the Romans and the Jews that they fought. Okay? So the net result of the Maccabee revolt was to proclaim Simon hereditary high priest, civil and military governor of the Jews forever. Still a trustworthy prophet should arise. So that's why still the Jews right now, they don't believe in Jesus. They're still waiting for their Messiah to come. But the Christians and the Gentiles, they believe Jesus is this and He's coming back again. So that was the whole war was about, and that's why the Holy Family want us to do, and He put that for us to know the history of it all.
Still a trustworthy prophet should arise. Judaism was a fighting religion, and such as it was at the time Christianity appeared. It was a proselytizing religion. It was against the Greeks, against the Christians. Not all people like music, gaiety, life, joy, happiness. Some people prefer to make virtue of their aches and pains.
Wow.
And they easily turn reformer. Now, with these things to go on, let's look at the building of the church. The Christian church had to have a platform and slogans, something to shoot at. They had to do something, so indirectly they used magic and mystery. It has already been shown that the resurrection was a tradition only and had been in the air for centuries. The idea of a Savior being resurrected from the dead had its beginnings in Africa and was applied to Osiris, a black Ethiopian savior.
Yes.
This story had been taught to African children for centuries. It was decided to dispense with logic, knowledge, and understanding, and to substitute belief.
Believe.
And that became the central theme of Christianity.
You just have to believe in Jesus.
Be
That's all.
right, good, or kind, just merciful or benevolent, wise, enlightened, or knowledgeable. Just believe.
That's it.
The magic, mystery, and culture needed was borrowed from the myths and stories of ancient Ethiopia and Egypt. And so it means that the world then, as now, was busy joining something which had the magic passwords for solving the supreme mystery.
Wow. So she's saying, so it means the world then, as now, was busy joining something which has the magic password for solving the supreme mystery. Because everything we do nowadays, you have to have a password, you know? When you put the password, things will open your computer. So that password, they say if you have that Jesus Christ, you say Jesus Christ, hey, you go to heaven, man. That is the magic password is Jesus Christ. All you have to say is Jesus Christ, and you go straight to heaven, man. Hey, that's exactly it, you know.
So now we see
That's what the Holy Family has some humor too.
the idea of salvation and worships what is known as a monotheistic pantheon, three gods in one, Father, Son,
And the
Holy Ghost. And this idea was founded by none other than Amenhotep II of the ancient Hamitic civilization, our noble ancestor, and used by the Christians, turned around and twisted and coupled with their own culture, doctrines, and philosophies to bring about Christianity.
Yes.
Brothers and sisters, regardless of race, creed, or color, religion cannot end war, famine, disease, or increase earthly happiness, or wipe out human suffering. But man can. We know that culture is the soul of a people, their entire existence and being, from their beginning to their end. Religion is to weak or easily overcome. Culture is the civilization of a given race at a given time. This is why we must drop the culture of our oppressors,
Yes.
Christianity, for culture and religion are one and the same, and adopt our own for the sake of building a black nation.
Yes.
Culture deals with the development of a people's thoughts, manners, and improvement of the conscience, which gives time and thought for enlightenment and revives their glorious pride of race, as we once enjoyed this in the land of Ham or Africa.
Good. So quickly, what you were saying is what? It was Akhenaten, and within our gospel it was told us that it was the Pharaoh Akhenaten that started baptism and founded the whole Christianity, the cult of Christ. Okay? But this is, I believe this is one important point I just want to, this is why we must drop, when the Holy Family Rasul was saying, this is why we must drop the cultures of our oppressors, which is Christianity. And for culture and religion are one and the same things. And adopt. When you say adopt our own, adopt Fahimism, adopt Fahimi as our own. For what? For the sake of building a black nation. That is very important. If we're going to form a nation, that nation has a religions of that nation. That's why Ethiopia, currently my country, Ethiopia, we have that the Ethiopian version of Christianity, which is nothing but ancestor worship. Okay? That's why we will never be conquered, because millions of people believe one thing. You have 50, 60 million people reading the same thing, going to the same ceremony day in, day out. So when the priest say, hey, get ready for war, the whole nation will be ready for war. because the whole nation is under one program.
Hamdulillah.
That's why Ethiopia will never be conquered and have never been conquered in the past, because you got millions of people can just can rise up and defend themselves. The same thing we would do with Fahami nation.
Hamdulillah.
And that's why adopt our own for the sake of building. If we want to build the spiritual nation, this divine nation, we must all of us be on the same page for Fahami, divine understanding. Then other nations can never attack us because we all want, we all have the same spirit, energy. For the sake of building a black nation, okay? Culture deals with the development of a people's thought, manners, and improvement of their conscience, which gives time and thought for enlightenment and revives the glorious pride of race, as we once enjoyed in the land of Ham. So the Holy Family wants us to think this kind of things. Why are we in this Fahami culture? Because this culture develops our thoughts, it will develop our good manners, and it improves our conscience, and gives us time and for enlightenment. So we have a nation of enlightened beings, enlightened population.
Reread the book of Genesis.
It's almost done, we're almost finished.
For this is truly your history, culture, and civilization of a given time of 50,000 years. Every prophet that came with a name for God or his people. That prophet came with a government upon his shoulders for guidance in regulating communities and putting their states or conditions mentally in proper order
Hamdulillah.
through cultivation of the soul for refinement as well as enlightenment, which gives the light of truth and knowledge to free our people from prejudice, which are opinions formed without taking time and care to judge fairly,
And from ignorance.
and from ignorance, which is knowing little or nothing, which causes our people to ignore or disregard or overlook what is being taught of their ancestors. The Bahamis, the awakened, the aroused, the enlightened,
I know it's
the
the mouse.
informed, is a reincarnation of the giving of a new body to a soul of all the gods of him rolled into one, and spokesman for them. Therefore, the Bahami speaks for all the gods of him and for all of the goddesses. It speaks of that
God's
source.
source.
No man comes in the likeness of the Creator or Supreme Being, but in the image of male and female gods. For the Creator created gods and goddesses, who were persons that were intensely admired and respected. And there was no God until there was something for him to be God over.
The
Hamdulillah.
highest
The
philosophy.
Creator or Supreme Being is all infinite, without bounds, unlimited powers, while God is man and man is God. He is finite, with a limit of power.
The
As
revelation.
Jesus spoke, I have no power except that given me of the Father. And he spoke again, saying, Is it not written that I say, ye are gods? Brothers and sisters, give thought to those two statements. For gods and goddesses are mere titles given to all noble men and prophets.
Yes.
So we find that a god is a noble man. He, in order to be noble, must be high and great by birth, rank, or title. He must, being God, be high and great in character, and show greatness of mind and doing good for others, a noble deed, and of a magnificent soul, a noble sight. The religion of a people being the society of that people, then black people, the founders of Masonry and the true Shriners, Bahami, the enlightened ones. Bahami is more than a religion because all of the gods are finite, that is limited of power. It is understanding, civil, and divine. It is intelligence, which is the ability to learn and know and understand yourself. It is understanding, civil, which pertains to the private rights of individuals and to legal proceedings connected with these rights. You may ask, what is right? And the answer is, what is right is what is yours. It is understanding divine, which pertains to what is yours from God, from the Supreme Being to the God of the race. That which is heavenly and very excellent to your temperament. Being heavenly means a place or condition of greatness, happiness here and now. Then you are sure of it after death. Yes, Bahami is understanding, civil and divine.
Wow.
To call ourselves Christians and try to fit ourselves into a culture, religion, and total society that is completely foreign to ourselves is like trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Yet we think we are improving ourselves, bettering our condition by swallowing what is destroying us. But we steadily pass this religion and culture down from generation to generation, thinking that it will be our salvation. We become better Christians than the real Christians and get nowhere, but we still hang on, refusing to see that all the while we are praying and suffering, the real Christian, the life Christian, is reaping all the benefits. They are the self-supporting, independent people, and we are beggars. Their religion, based on their culture, has acted as a unifying force to make it possible to obtain independence and power over others. When will we realize that we must do
This
this
also
also? Unify ourselves with
with the
doctrine
doctrine
of religion
and
and
culture,
culture peculiar to ourselves, based on our history, the history of our noble ancestors. Christianity is an infamous falsehood of a religion in which they do not believe themselves, but which they force on others.
yes.
They put on an act and appearance of goodness or religion, the kind of hypocrisy Tolstoy denounced. The Bahami Gospel says that the superficial faith will soon pass away for the true and divine. For a people, their God, religion, language, and culture are one and the same. So who and what are we as Black Christians? Are we an independent and self-supporting people, or do we rely on others for the basic necessities of life? Do we accept our own culture, religion, or do we thrive on the doctrines, philosophies, language, customs, and religious system that is completely
That is
alien
the
to our
continent
true
of
self?
Africa right now.
So what is the answer to the question, what are we and who are we as Black Christians? We are a group of people striving to be who we are not, nor can we ever be. So we are nobody. So the Black Christian is equal to being nobody. They possess nothing of their own. They deny what is theirs and do not wish to be Black, for they seek to be anything and everything other than that. Yet these same people yell, Black power, Black is beautiful, and nation time. How can any of these things become a reality? How are we going to build power and a nation on white culture and religion, a system that has oppressed us and still holds us in psychological slavery? And we're going to use this system to build a nation and power for ourselves. How can
come?
Black be beautiful based on white standards when everything Black in this white Christian society is considered bad, accomplish these things with. They cannot be had by accepting the doctrines of our oppressors. It is indeed nation time. But what shall be the basis of our nation? What shall it be built on? Christianity? It will never happen. Just as the black Christians dream of peace and goodwill and unity among black and white Christians will never happen. Salam. Brothers and sisters, you've been listening to the voice.
Yes, salam, salam. So with that, family, I will conclude. Hopefully, we will listen to it. Again, I strongly suggest we listen to this lecture again and again and, do more research on it. But it will enlighten us, especially our brothers and sisters in the continent, and even all over the world who are following, the Catholic Christians, With that, hey, salam ya strike bana, family.
Faham.